Hey, Pablo, look at you. I love your smile on that badge.
Yes, actually, they said this about me that the smile is actually
Really?
bigger than my face than my eyes. Yes.
Yeah, I think you're the only one who smiles this much on your badge. That's amazing. I love it. You'll have to keep that one forever. All right, guys. So I'm so excited to introduce Pablo to you. He is an amazing person and he did amazing in the program. So I'll let Pablo take it from here. Can you tell us, where are you now? Like, where did you get to in the program? What's happening for you in your life at the moment?
Well, thank you, Dalia. I have to say that I have done the program. It's been 8 weeks. That has been really amazing. I learned many amazing new things that I actually didn't know about, and they actually work for me. And I think an image is worth more than 1,000 words. So I'm going to show you this. This is my badge that I got. I'm very happy about it. And it's really the proof that for me, the program has worked. And I would recommend it, definitely. So right now, I am Spanish. I'm from Spain. And now I started to work in Manila, in Philippines. And well, to be honest with you, I had set a goal of how much on week one, how much I wanted to be earning, and actually I exceeded that. Right
Well,
now.
what was your target salary?
So initially,
originally?
I was thinking about something around the $5,000
A
month.
Okay, yeah.
To start with. And right now I'm earning over 6,000 euros. I think it's 6,300 around that mark. Yes, and on top of that, I'm staying in a 5-star hotel that the employer is paying as well. So that's a side of the salary, and I have around 5,000 euros additional allowance to a living expense, basically. So extremely
Cool.
happy.
Okay. So you're earning a lot more than your target originally was. So that's cool. And then what's the work? Tell us a bit about what's the work itself.
Actually, it's a career move, 180 degrees, because I was specifically working on real estate and well, a very different kind of business. But I wanted to change and make a different career move because my passion was really something completely different. It had to do with communications, helping people, making a difference in the world. But obviously, it meant a huge change on my side as well. So basically, I realized I had to do things differently if I wanted to obtain different results. And that's where the program came in. And I actually, just before that, I decided to take a sabbatical of 1 year to fulfill this dream. I actually thought I would do it in 6 months, to be honest with you. And in the end, it took me 3 years.
Yeah.
So I applied to over 100 jobs, no kidding. And I contacted around 1,700 people because I have a record of it. And actually one position came out of that. And on my first day on the job, before I started, I was actually being interviewed for another job that paid even more. And I'm still waiting for the results. But it was very positive because even, if it happens, that'll be great. But if it doesn't, I think it's been a wonderful experience. I'm learning a lot. Mm-hmm. And obviously it's not the end, but it's actually just the beginning of a new.
Yeah. So let's just recap on something you just said, because this is I think really important. Like, as you guys can probably tell, Pablo's a very results-oriented person and very data-driven, which is amazing. So he wasn't just the type who's like, he knew what he wanted actually before he joined the program. He wanted to do this crazy career change from real estate to humanitarian communications. He wanted to work for the UN, right? Big dream. A lot of people go their whole lives trying to work for the UN and have the experience and everything and still don't make it. So he decided, okay, I'm going to start right. And you had 2 years where you were still doing real estate, was it? Still doing real estate, but then also working on trying to get a job at the UN, or those were the years that you were doing a master's and stuff like this?
Well, yes, the thing is that I have my own business. I still do, and the thing is that I earn a passive income, and I got to the point that basically I did a 2, 5, and 10-year plan. And about 5 years ago, I realized I not only achieved those plans, but I actually went further.
Yeah. So you're a very high achiever already, and then this was like the next big goal. Okay, now I'm going to work for the UN. I want to do communications, right. And I like how you set yourself a timeline and everything. But then the timeline wasn't happening. And I think this is really interesting because when we talked, this is where we realized you didn't have the right approach. So you had the drive, you had the motivation, you'd taken a whole year off just to have time for it, and it still wasn't happening. And so you needed to take all that drive and have an actual system. And that was really the missing piece. Because obviously nobody can create the drive forward for you. Nobody can create that commitment for you. You need to have that yourself. But then the missing piece was that, yeah.
I have to say that, during that time as well, especially towards the end, the thing is that you apply, you keep applying, you believe in yourself, that, there's light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to get there somehow, and you, because you have everything against you, you start to lose faith and lose
Of course.
And it's like, everyone is human, and, they couldn't be doing
even
this.
Because now you're all enthusiastic and all this kind of stuff, and obviously you're an enthusiastic person. But I know there were moments when you were like, you know what, if this doesn't happen soon, I'm gonna give up on my dream, because how many years are you supposed to keep applying and trying and networking and
I have to say that. So when I did the program, I said to myself, I think now it's a good time to give it my 100% on this. Have absolutely no doubt, no fear, nothing at all. Give it all, and be sure that it's going to work. So I actually created a little diary. So I would write down absolutely everything, how I feel, everything, being the hopes, the goals, but also always on track, and try to stay positive and to make sure that everything would be all right in the end. But obviously you have to dedicate time and effort and energy. Yeah. And at the end, well, I have to say that by the last week, just on the day that it was just 8 weeks, I remember saying, look, I received this offer, I accepted. I'm just waiting for the contract to sign. The same day, but
isn't that crazy? You received the contract for your job on the last day of the 8-week program, and then this is the other part. It's totally crazy. And the weird thing is that this happens a lot in the program, where on the very last day of the program, people get job offers. It's kind of a weird thing, but sometimes that happens. And then the other crazy thing is that you arrived right in Manila. Tell us about how you arrived, and then at 6 a.m. you had to get up for a job interview for a UNICEF position.
Yes, so basically, I was very happy because I had this opportunity, after being all this time waiting for something like this to fall out of the sky, So it's like, yes, okay, we expect you on your first day on Friday. So I had to leave Spain, get everything ready and all that. So I arrived, obviously, the day before, Thursday. And because of the time schedule and everything, I arrived at 10 at night to the hotel. And basically with all the paperwork and everything, I ended up being ready to go to bed at around maybe 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
So the thing that I actually had planned an interview with someone from the UNICEF office in New Zealand. So there's like this time difference and all that. And look, if you want, we can do an interview on this day, on Friday, at what is considered 6 a.m. my time, which would be around midday for them.
Yeah, 11. Before going to your new office, right?
An advantage for them. So like, yeah, sure, fantastic. So with all the excitement, I actually couldn't go to bed because I was
no.
Yes. No,
so you did an all-nighter, and then you did the 6 a.m. interview, and then you started your new job right after that.
The 26-hour flight,
oh my God.
Here, and everything. So it's like
the avalanche of job offers has begun.
Now it's like
Yeah,
Harry,
Pablo,
really?
I need to say something. This is a funny thing because a lot of people who do the program afterwards, they end up with this kind of problem where they have too many job offers and they're like, oh my God, I know I need to get up early for an interview, and then I have all these people contacting me and I don't have time for all of them. And it's like, this is a nice problem to have, right?
Exactly. This is exactly the
Yeah.
kind of thing I wanted to have. All these problems, and like,
Yeah. It's
I want this
upgraded
problem.
problems. Life is all about upgrade. It's not about getting rid of problems and having this dream life where nothing's happening anymore, but it's about upgrading your problems. So you have to,
Yes, no, definitely.
your big life struggle is struggling with too many job offers and not knowing,
Yes, yes. So,
having to get up early to do the interviews.
no, so I'm very happy because the interview went very well. This person even told me that this position, it's very good. It pays very
Mm-hmm.
well. It for me would be a dream come true. But also, like once we started interacting and talking,
Mm-hmm.
this person actually told me like, look, we actually want someone who maybe can,
Mm-hmm.
can substitute me and take care of the whole office within
Yeah.
maybe
Wow.
5 years. So that's why we want to hire someone that maybe can take over the whole office. So
Wow.
I mean, a total,
Amazing.
change in life, and if
Mm-hmm.
it would happen. But then again, if it doesn't happen, I think it's also an amazing experience to have, and I'm
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
grateful for it.
You have other job leads
It
anyway, and you
doesn't
have
mean
the
that I
job
have
you're
to
in right now.
looking or working or anything, but it means that I have to continue and push myself and, you
Mm-hmm.
know, fulfill that dream that it's actually worth going for me, that it's helping others and making a difference. And I think,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting paid all this money. It's fantastic. It's great. It's a dream come true. But to be honest with you, I'm so happy because of the work and the environment and everything that I will actually have done it for free.
Yeah.
It's really,
Yeah.
yes, it's really amazing. It's really amazing. So it's
Yeah.
really a dream come true for me.
I'm so happy to hear that because a lot of people think that even though, of course, they want a job they enjoy, of course, they want to earn a good living, they say, okay, but let's be honest here. If I didn't have to work and I could go and live on a beach somewhere, that would be the ideal. Like if I could just have passive income. And here's someone who has passive income, but he wants to make a difference and wants to have a job
Yes,
he loves with
exactly.
good people and
Yes, 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 yes.
sitting
No,
around and doing nothing is not
and
actually
this is
going to
what
fulfill
I'm
anyone.
saying. Yes, yes, yes. I mean, for me, I had things very, very clear in my mind. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just a matter of getting things done, definitely. For me, I mean, it wasn't like doing all this massive Titanic work that now is like, oh, fantastic. I crossed the finish line and that's it. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy. Yes,
Yeah.
fantastic, great. But now actually, it was just a foundation of the next
Mm-hmm.
step of my life. Now it
Yeah.
really comes the real work. So even though it took me a lot of effort and
Yeah.
time,
That was all building up the foundation that we did together. And now it's just maintaining that momentum and continuing to use the system you've already set up. Okay. So this is something that we should just talk about briefly, because I think it's important that we know you were doing a lot of effort. So you'd worked a lot on your CV. You had a bunch of people look at your CV. You had LinkedIn. You had reached out to thousands of people. So you were doing all the steps. Because sometimes people ask me like, well, what are you really doing in your program? Like, do you just teach me to use LinkedIn? Because I'm already on that and I'm already doing networking and I've updated my CV. So what exactly are we going to be doing? So what was it that made the difference? Because you were doing 10 times what most people were doing and it still wasn't happening until we worked together. So what was the difference there?
well, the thing is that I am a strong believer that the more effort and work and enthusiasm you put into it, the more probability of success you will have. So I simply thought of putting more hours, more effort, and saying, look, if you have a target of X, Y, Z, try to go even further. So what I did specifically was that I already had a LinkedIn account, working fine, no problem. But for this specific issue, I worked with you creating a new account and started getting specific target audience that it was actually worth me contacting.
Mm-hmm.
That could help me get insight, more ideas, talking to people, which was something that, to be honest with you, I haven't really worked on before. Like
Yeah.
asking for
So you were
someone.
doing a high volume of outreach, but with you, just to explain to people who might not understand how this outreach works, like a lot of people are still sending messages that are not really the kind of messages that are going to get you noticed and positions and make the right impression, right? And then some people are actually kind of burning contacts or not getting the attention that they deserve to be getting because of the way that they're doing that networking.
Yes,
And this
exactly.
happens all the time, even with people who are really successful. And the interesting thing with you is you had a very successful LinkedIn profile. Like, you're not someone, you're a communicator. You're not someone who doesn't know how to do branding. You're not clueless about branding. Actually, you're very good at it. And didn't you have like one of the top LinkedIn profiles or something like that in real estate, right?
One of the top 100 LinkedIn profiles worldwide.
Yeah. So this is a very successful person when it comes to personal branding. Like, you actually know how to do personal branding. But this was for a new sector, right? So we needed to go back to the foundations and create a new profile in your case and redo the messaging for a new sector, which is tough when it's a new sector, right? You know how to do it for real estate, but we had to some of the wording was still, and I see this a lot with a lot of people doing career changes where they're very embedded in their current career, and even if they're very successful at the job and successful even at their networking and their branding within that sector, how do you take that and then now network successfully in the new sector?
Yes, yes.
So I think that was the main piece, the main thing that made a difference for you.
So on the first week, I think my target was like something like getting to contact personally and write them a specific message for them, not the message like, no, something specific that they were working on. Around 500 people, 500 contacts.
Yeah, so you took all of that drive and everything, and you took it with the right messaging, and then that's where you started getting results. Yeah, and with within the first week, guys, he got his actual contract signed on the last day of the program, the last day of the 8 weeks. But within the first week, you were already getting conversations with people who before were never even willing to talk to you.
Oh yes,
so that was really amazing too.
That's the thing. I mean, I contacted these 500 people. I think I was short of like 4 or 5 of the target.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was. I mean, that's it's really crazy, you know. I mean, usually you get I don't know, not that many contacts, you know. But already with these 500 contacts, I started talking to them, and obviously you get a bit of everything. People that are nice, people that look too busy to talk.
Yeah. But you had people willing to talk and even suggest positions, like, oh, we have a position opening up, etc. And this is, keep in mind, like, they're suggesting positions for a guy who's in real estate right now, and then they're suggesting something that's in the brand new sector. So they were starting to see you as that specialist.
You get some people that are very, very nice, very helpful, and very keen to actually, you know, take you through.
To help you out, And then now that you have this new position, there's even more interest, right? That a bunch of people are like, oh.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think I had a target of this, like first to get to 500, and then try to have each week around 3 or 4 people to talk to. And that's exactly what I did. And every person I talked to, I put on an Excel spreadsheet.
It was super organized. This is great. It was, I mean, working with you was amazing. Like, it was really inspirational for me as well, because you are so driven and you have that commitment and you have that organization, and you took all of that and applied it, like really, really applied yourself to the system. And that's why you got such great results as well.
I have to thank you really for your patience as well, because I think sometimes I was a bit too overwhelming, you know, with writing messages and saying, you know, look, I'm following this through, you know, and you know, I'm very keen on taking things forward.
Not at all. The more drive, the better for me. I thought that was great. And you know what else was interesting with you was the because, again, like, Pablo is someone who's had a lot of achievements in his life. Like, he's been very successful, like we were talking about, in real estate and even in some other areas. And so I think one of the other big things for you was getting clear on the value for the new sector, the new job, right? Not just to give people a bucket list of everything you've done, but really bring that out. And I think that's something that's difficult as well for people to understand. What are those things that employers care about? What are those key things that are really valuable about you? Because obviously, I'm telling you now, Pablo's amazing, he's driven, but putting I am results driven on a CV is not really going to get anyone's attention, right? So we had to really pull out what is that key value that's very specific, that really gets people noticing. And once we did that, and then you took that drive and you started doing that outreach, that's when you really started getting people's attention.
Yes. I think that's a very good point that you're raising up. It has to do with the keywords and how to actually put down in writing exactly what you've done. Because I realized with you, it's like I was talking to you and I was like, look, this, that, and the other, I have the data, I can prove it and all that. But I couldn't actually write it down, you know? So every time, like, we wrote a new sentence, I was like, oh, well, actually I've done this. Oh, yes.
It's a process, right? Really pulling out that value and getting the wording
there's a
right.
couple more things that I've done that we can write. Oh, yes. So at the end, I got like a brand new profile. It looked like another person, but it's actually me. I know I've done.
Yeah, because you're multiple people. Like a lot of people think that they're just the one person that they are, and you present your CV and hopefully someone likes it. But that's not true. There are multiple versions of you, and you need to find the right version and position yourself so that you make the right impression with people.
So that's the thing. I had this amazing profile on LinkedIn, but it was just real estate. So
exactly. And we had to create a new you.
Work from, to change it, I had to start from scratch, basically.
Yeah.
And it to be successful.
Yeah. And there was a strategy behind that as well, because a lot of people are worried about, oh, but I'm successful in this area. What if I don't totally want to give it up? What if I want to come back to it? And so there are ways to do that. You didn't have to give up real estate. And, you even maintained your old profile, and now you're two people. Sometimes it's better to be one person. Sometimes it's better to be two people. It depends on the person, right? It's different for everyone. And that's why there's no one size fits all. Like, depends on your life.
You say this as well. I think it's important to consider, like, whoever's doing the program is like, look, you do some materials and CV and all that, and obviously you're going to say, you know what, this is great, but maybe you should consider changing this. Some people is like, no, I'm not going to change it because that's who I am, and but it's just on paper. You can just change it and put exactly what your real values are and what you've done. So maybe you think, that's who I am, and I don't want to change it. But it's worth doing the effort, because
worth trying a new approach, right? Because you can get different results with a different approach.
So be open.
Be open for different, and I think it's something as well that when it comes to people who are already successful, right? Sometimes there might be some resistance there to trying something new.
Yes, exactly. So it's just don't close your mind, or it can be very useful.
So I'm curious then. So you found me. I think you originally found me on LinkedIn, right, or on YouTube, and then after that we started talking, and you were like, and you were interested in knowing more. We got on a call, and then why did you decide to do this, and were you skeptical about it?
Well, to be honest with you, the thing is that I was doing this approach that I was doing that obviously I was not getting anywhere. So it's like, obviously, I think there's a problem on the methodology that I'm doing. I cannot expect,
because you're used to getting results in your life, right? So it was like, why am I not getting results in this area?
Very results driven, So obviously I cannot obtain a different thing from doing the same thing. So I had to do something different. So actually I started looking at what you were doing from YouTube. So I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. I think she knows what she's talking about. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm going to look for her on LinkedIn, see what it's all about. So
right, and then you wrote me a message on LinkedIn.
Yes. And then that's how we started. So that's something that I think I've been blessed with that because it's very good. That you were very, very straightforward. The first call, you know what you were talking about. I think for me, that gave me a lot of confidence in taking things forward, because I had a lot of doubts, a lot of questions, a lot of things that I'm doing. You really had to show me that you know what you were talking about. And for me, you not only talk the talk, but it seemed like you walk the walk, as they say. So I was like, yes, okay, I'm gonna give you my vote of confidence, and I'm gonna go for it.
What kind of concerns did you have in your mind? Like, what were the parts of your mind going, is this really going to work, sort of thing?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you can never be 100% sure.
Yeah, but were you wondering, like, okay, I found this girl on YouTube. Is this a real thing, or what were some of those kind of questions you had?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I think there was a small time frame around 4 or 5 hours before you and I was like, before you said yes, okay, everything is fine, let's go forward and all that. So I was like, during that time, it's like, what the hell happened here? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I had my reservation on that, but it was a very short period of time.
Oh, right, because you paid for the program, and then I said, yes. Okay, I've received your payment. Right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
so, that's exactly right. And yes, so you replied immediately right away, and you gave me all the information. They're very straightforward. very approachable, very kind. Something that I was very appreciative of, like any concern, any doubt, you immediately replied right away. Something that for me it's very important. It shows a lot of professionalism.
I think, why I think it's important. I think there's a lot of people are getting into passive income and all that, which is great. And but I think there's a lot of programs out there that have a lot of people in the programs, and they're not always very personalized, and you can wait a long time to get a response. And I think it's important, like when there's someone who's as driven as you and results oriented, and you're there working, to have someone that can sort of match you. And I know for me, because I've done a lot of programs, and I've had coaches that get back to me right away, and the momentum continues, and they care about what's happening with you, and they ask you questions, versus coaches where I'm working on something, I have a question, I ask them, and they answer me like a week later, and I'm going, well, it's kind of too late now because I had to write the message. The message is over. So, and then the momentum is lost, and they're not really helping you because the timeline's too long, right? Right. So yeah, I think that's important.
Yes, I think that's very important, and for me, I value that a lot. Especially, yes, that going back and forth, because like I said, it shows a lot of professionalism. Definitely.
Yeah, and I think that's the other important thing. And I know you said, "Oh, I hope I didn't bother you too much," but I think people worry that they're bothering their coach too much, because so many coaches are kind of like, send me an email and I'll send it to the help desk and someone will get back to you, right? But this iterative process of going back and forth is actually where I find people get the biggest results, because like you were saying, the first version of your CV, or the first version of what comes out of you in terms of that value, is not the final version. So we need to keep going back and forth and making it better and better until you get to that final version. So it is important to go back and forth and have that kind of momentum.
That's exactly right. And I think also something that is very important, I would like to mention, is your enthusiasm and your passion and your drive, that you can actually feel it, even though I cannot physically see you, but you're right there on the screen, transmit this positivity and enthusiasm. And sometimes, I was watching the videos and I was like, okay, now I don't feel enthusiastic or happy or anything, but
yeah,
because you put so much passion and energy and drive into this, actually it was contagious. So I was like, at the end of the video, I was like, oh, well, you know what? Let's go for it.
So, yeah, that's very interesting you say that, because I mean, energy is everything in life in general. And that's also why I work with people like you, because I also want positive energy in my life, and I want to make sure the clients I'm working with have that good energy, because then it's a symbiotic effect, right? I have energy, you have energy, that gives me more energy. And then, and I mean, when you were talking to me about the jobs you were getting, I was like, you don't know how much energy that gave me. I was jumping off the wall because of what you were telling me, the results you were getting, right? So it's definitely a mutual thing. But
actually, now that you mentioned this, there was something like you told me way at the beginning that you were telling me, look, I think you come across as too enthusiastic, because I was writing messages with too many exclamation marks.
Lots of exclamation marks, yeah. But it comes back to what we were talking about, where the iterative process, looking at your messaging, your communication style, how are you coming across? A lot of people I work with come across as way too formal and boring, and nobody wants to hear from them. Some people come across as too enthusiastic or too many this is something that depends on the person. It also depends on your industry. There are some industries where you need to talk a certain way. Other industries, you need to talk a different way. So this is where you really need to be looking exactly at a message, the specific message.
Now that we mentioned this, there was something that I think I was the first one in the program to do it, which was to ask you to meet you in person.
No, you're not the first one. I have met a couple of other clients before in person.
Well, maybe the first one in Spain.
You're the first, not in Spain. I actually have another client who I saw in Barcelona, but you are the first one to take a flight just to see me, because I've had another client who was kind of planning a trip to Barcelona anyway. We met up and that was really cool. But yeah, you're the first one to say, I'm going to come meet you. I'm taking a flight. I'm arriving tomorrow. I was like, wow, that's enthusiasm. But that was really cool. It was amazing. We could meet each other in person.
No, it was really worthwhile, because, it's different to, write on the messages, ideas, your thoughts, who you are, but then you met in person. I think you really got my essence. And I think it was really worth it. I mean,
That was fantastic. Yeah, we had a really nice
it was
conversation and
really
coffee
worth it.
together. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. I'm
So
very
I
grateful.
want to know, what would you say to someone who's kind of skeptical or who's on the fence, who's like, oh, this program, it sounds really great, but I don't know.
Well, I understand completely because I was in that situation as well. I mean, and right now I'm 11,000 kilometers from where I was born, and I'm in a five-star hotel room. I actually wanted to show you where I am because it's really amazing. And I think it's really worth it. For me, it worked definitely, and I would recommend it because you see my badge. You see, I'd like to show you where I am, because it's really great. Is it okay? Can I show?
If you want to, sure.
Very quickly.
He's excited about his hotel room.
Yeah, so here I
His
am in
nice
the
hotel
room.
room. I think it's a case of, because some people are like, well, I don't care about being in a five-star hotel, or I don't care about the money, or I don't care, but it's not about that. It's about
Right.
achieving dreams. It's about, I know why you're excited right now, and I know it's not the five-star, and I know it's not whatever.
Right.
It's the fact this was such a big dream for you, and
Yes.
now you've achieved it.
Yeah, I would have done this completely free, if I'm honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
This is a wonderful gift, but
Yeah.
it's really about, for me, the work and helping people out, making a difference in the world, getting to know these amazing people that have so much experience that you can learn from, that are really people would pay money just
to talk to these people and
get
find out what they do.
just
Yeah.
It's really, really amazing because it's very inspiring, the work that they do. I've seen things that already people, that are very heroic and very, very humble about it, and very inspiring. And for me, that is really valuable, and it's really, it's a gift. It's a gift, really.
It is a gift, and it changes your life. Like, after these kinds of work experiences, if you imagine your life without that, it's like, it's not your life anymore. It's something totally different. I was thinking even about the jobs I did in my last year, and before I took on those jobs, I was thinking, am I gonna take on these contracts this year? Maybe I'll
Right.
do something
So
different.
there's something
It's hard to
else
imagine without. Yeah.
No, there's something else I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Is that I created a little Instagram just for me, and it's based on if you have your doubts, you know, and you have someone inside that's like, let's go for it, So basically, that person is now me, but I'm writing myself notes like to that person that wants to stay home, doesn't want to risk it, doesn't want to go.
Yeah, it's like the angel and the devil, right? The one who's going for their dream and the one who's going, whoa, wait a minute.
Right.
Let's be safe and not do anything.
You're sending yourself little postcards saying, I'm taking this picture, I'm having this wonderful dream, I wish you were here, So it's just of going forward, and it's just something I want to mention.
Interesting. Because I think that's, especially with career changes, that's the big struggle. It's maybe this is as good as it gets. Maybe you should just enjoy what you have. Maybe, you can think about that next year. So what's your advice to someone who, if you think back to 8 weeks ago, where, or even someone who isn't 100% sure if they want to go for that career change, like at least you had sort of decided, okay, I do want to do this. Some people are still on the fence about even deciding to do a career change in the first place. So what do you say to someone who's been successful in something and is thinking about doing something different, but has all of these lists of things that the devil or the fearful side of them is telling them?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know what to say. I can only speak from my experience. I know that you have to have a clear mind about it.
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking not everyone is as driven as me, so you're going to have to step up to the plate and be just as driven. No, but it's true.
No, but I think we all have these things like, oh yes, I wish I could have a wonderful salary, a mansion, I wish I could do this, that, and the other, or be very philanthropic, But then we don't do anything about it. We don't act upon it. So it's like, well, you don't act upon it. When what the hell? What do you expect? But if you really say, I want to make this move a reality, and I'm going to put the effort and time and energy, money into it, no matter what the cost. I'm going to set a goal and I'm going to go for it. And
Yeah.
sure, there's going to be obstacles because that's the whole point of life. But I think it's about don't get discouraged and just to continue. But you must have a goal first.
You must have a goal, yeah, and that's something that it sounds like you learned in your past life with real estate, right? Like you're very good with the goal setting and achieving the goals, and yeah, you need a goal. I mean, I think that's the first message. I think that you need a goal. A lot of people don't even have a goal. They just know that they're not exactly where they want to be right now. They haven't figured out the goal. So that's the first thing. You need to figure out the goal. And then the second thing is you need to go 100% behind it. And again, that's tough for most people because most people are too worried about, well, okay, I want to go 100%, but not if it takes too much time or money or energy. And it's like,
Right.
well, then you're not going for the goal. Then that goal,
No,
if it's a really big dream, it's not going to happen.
I really like ancient history, and there's this Greek proverb that says, if you don't know where you're going, no wind is going to favor you. So it's okay, fine. So you need to know.
Absolutely. And all of these things are very cliche and people hear them all the time and they see these motivational Instagram quotes and they see the YouTube videos, but it's really important to know that real people like you actually have applied those motivational concepts and they actually went 100% in and they had the exact same fears and the exact same skepticisms and the exact same what if it doesn't work? And it's a decision, right? It's a decision to do it anyway and go 100%. And then you end up in these amazing life circumstances where you have all this money and you have an amazing place to stay and you have an amazing job and fulfilling and all this stuff, and people are going, oh, how did you do it? Well, you made the decision and you put everything into it and you were driven, right? It's a way of life. It's really a way of life, going for dreams and going for goals.
It's also a change of perspective, a different mentality as well, because we all have this thing about failure and how if you fail, then you're a failure for life. And we really have a hard time because to grasp the concept of, failure is just a stepping stone for success, because you always learn something. There's always at least one thing you can learn of, not avoiding doing the same mistake twice, and I think that's the whole point of this, really.
Real failure is not doing anything and being okay as a 5 or a 6 in your life, right? That's the real failure.
There's another proverb. It sounds very topical, but it's true, that you try and you fail, but when you stop trying, that's when you fail.
That's the failure, or not even going for the goal in the first place, staying on the fence about, should I really go for this goal, or maybe it's not realistic for me. Like that is the failure.
Yes. Now the thing is that obviously you can aim for the moon, I think we talked about this already, from 1 to 10, how do you feel? What are your goals and everything? I always say at least from 1 to 10, I always feel like a 13. 13, you're on the scale.
This is the mindset you need to have.
Yes, because I always try to aim like for the stars, and if I don't get to the stars, well, at least get to the moon.
You get to the moon, exactly.
Outside of the earth, if I don't, well, I'll get further than I actually anticipated. So it's really about everyone. You cannot have really impossible dreams, but obviously, face yourself, be realistic, set achievable goals, and I think everything is doable. To be honest with you.
Everything can be figured out, right? And there's someone who's done it before, so you can learn from that person and you can make it happen yourself as well. But I'm really, really happy you talked to us because I think you're such a good example of,
thank you very much.
I think I've said the word driven like 100 times in this video, but you're really, really driven and really goal focused and the kind of person who doesn't take, not possible for an answer, which I think is such an important character trait. And the whole concept, again, like there's motivational quotes and then there's the actual personification of those quotes in a real person and you see how they did it. And I think you're such a good example of that and going 100% and that 100% commitment. Like, what does that actually look like in a real person? And this is it. So I think for anyone who's watching this, who's like, oh, but I don't think I'm quite like that. I'm still indecisive about what my goal actually is, right? I think the take-home message is obviously you have a different background than Pablo does. Maybe you're not as used to setting goals or this kind of thing, but you can find your own way to be driven and you can start working on those different fears that are standing in the way of being a more driven person. But you need to start facing those fears and starting to go, okay, I'm not going to let this fear control me. I'm going to become more decisive.
Yes, I think something that I think it's very, very important to distinguish here is the difference between mind and heart. We always have like like a conflict between these two. You know, it's like, okay, my
Yeah.
this, but my brain is like, are you crazy? Don't do this. Don't
Mm-hmm.
do this. You know, but your heart is like, no, let's go for it. You know, let's go for it. So it's really about, yes, what do you really want? Not more like, you know,
Yeah.
what you think about. Yes, use your brain to go where you want.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a really good way to put it. And actually, you're going to be happiest and you're going to make the right decisions when you, again, it's a cliche, when you go with your gut, when you go with your heart, and what you do with your mind, because of course it's important to think and to be an intelligent person. But what the mind does is it helps you to figure out the steps to get there, and it helps you to do that. But your heart and your gut should make the decision. Like, it knows where you need to be. And then
Yes,
your mind that makes the decision, and then your mind is going to help you to go, okay, how do we make this work? How do we get resourceful? How do we get creative? How do we find great solutions for this
exactly,
problem?
exactly.
As
Totally.
opposed to using your mind to just run away from the thing that you really want to do, making all these excuses. Oh, but it's not the right time, or this or that. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that usually when the tendency is like, oh, I have to run away, that is the exact opportunity that makes you
When you need
grow.
to go for it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually the alarm bell of like, this is go for it, you know? It's really stepping
Yeah.
outside of your comfort zone. Because
Yeah.
exactly when you go outside of the comfort zone, you start to grow. And actually, I have to mention this, you know, since I arrived here and all the process, I mean, just recently, you know, I feel just so happy that it's just, I don't know, I'm smiling all the time, and I'm just sharing this
It's a
experience.
funny thing because his badge, his smile on his badge
Yeah,
is like,
and everyone is like, oh, man, you're so happy, you know. Yeah, it's just that I'm happy because I'm doing this. It's my dream come true, you know. And people are like, oh, well, you know, this very passionate guy, you know. I think he knows what he's talking about, and
mm-hmm,
I would like to know him, to meet him. Let's work together, things like this, you know.
mm-hmm,
It's really, you know, things that I thought that were tough for me, and I said, you know what, this is
mm-hmm,
tough for me. I recognize it. It's a challenge for me. I'm good at other things, but this is a bit tough.
mm-hmm,
Now I'm going to put the time and effort, energy into it to actually work myself, to really go the extra mile on this sense that it's really tough for me. And
mm-hmm,
obviously everyone is different. You know, maybe it's hard for you to talk to people. Maybe it's hard for you to write, you know, yourself on a piece of paper, or
mm-hmm.
maybe you're not that good on social media, or maybe you're not that good on
Yeah.
whatever. You know, everyone,
Whatever it is, it can be figured out, right?
exactly, but everyone also has the possibility of overcome those obstacles.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that's really the
Absolutely.
key about this, you know. So that it's
Yeah.
not like everyone. I'm a Superman. Well, everyone is a Superwoman and a Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone. But it's just a matter of, you know, going for it. I think.
Thank you so much. I'm staying silent right now
For
because
me,
these
it
are, I
worked
think that,
really. So thank you very much, Dalia. Thank you. And
thank you,
I
Pablo.
really recommend you guys to go for it. Really, it's worth it.
It's been amazing, amazing working with you. Really inspirational for me. And I've loved the passion and the speed at which you work,
Yeah.
and like we were saying, the driven towards your goals. So happy you've taken time out of your day to
No,
talk
no
to us
problem.
when you're probably
More than happy
extremely
to do it.
underslept.
Really.
Yeah, and now we'll let you get back to your brand new job and all your other job leads that you're now having to deal with. And yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for talking to us, and I can't wait to hear what's next for you, because this is the beginning. This is just the
Yes, exactly.
foundation.
The beginning. It's the beginning. Exactly. It's not the
Mm-hmm.
end at all. It's just the beginning of my new life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, Pablo.
Thank you.